Alright, today is more of a tip or a recommendation than a diagnosis. This machine was just in for routine service, and part of my check over I found, focus, 66% soot load, so we're going to run it through regen for the guy. Get situated here. But one of the things I always had trouble with when I first started doing any kind of more diagnosis work, doing check engine lights, all that kind of stuff, drivability problems, was how do all these guys know what's good and bad? I mean, how do you possibly remember all of that on so many different lines, so many different vehicles? Well, part of it is experience. Part of it is knowing base system operation. Part of it is vehicle-specific operation. And part of it is just monitoring your data PIDs, taking known goods and known bads and seeing what happens. So like here we got no air throttle actuator. Oop, easy there. 3%, always at 2 to 3% in here. Key on, engine off, standard deer. You can look at some voltages. We can look at our baro sensor if we're concerned. Come on, how do I take some of that out? Let's try this. It's a little better. So we can watch that. DOC, we got our ash loads. I mean, we just go through it. We pick data PIDs that are useful, and we monitor them. We see, key on, engine off. We look for, this thing's been running, but we would look for temperature sensors, like your intake air temperature, engine coolant, and your manifold air. If it's been sitting a cold soak, we want to see them all within a degree or so of each other. We want to make sure there's no sensor drift that could be acting up. Small things. So we take our known goods. You're test driving a vehicle after repair, making sure it's not leaking, whatever it may be. Throw some data PIDs on the graph and, graph it, save it, refer back to it later, jot down notes, stick it in your memory bank, whatever it may be. And then do some key on engine running. Monitor some stuff. Rev up a little bit here, and let's see, do I have desired fuel here? Now, let me bring this down for a second. One thing you won't see in any of our service information for JD, but you can figure out just from this, is we do have fuel cut, fuel decel. So notice where our desired fuel is. Keep an eye on this. We're going to rev it up and then drop it down. And notice how we have fuel cut there. So that's good, that's interesting. Do we really care about that? We do, because knowing, number one, normal milligrams per stroke gives us a general idea of overall injector health on the machine. If it's commanding more milligrams of fuel per stroke, we have an issue. Is it getting too much air? Is it not getting enough fuel? Partially clogged injector, poor quality fuel, whatever it may be. So that's one of the benefits of known good. But let's go right down to here, our actual versus desired rail pressure. So if we jack this up and then drop down, notice how our desired pressure drops a whole lot faster than our actual does. If we had a faster drop of actual than desired, we would be looking at something in the fuel system, injector sticking open, relief valve. It would depend on overall drivability complaint. But then, another thing I like to do on any of these diesels, because I'm not going to sit here and monitor the thing for, an hour to 3 hours, however long it takes, is when I'm getting ready to go into regen. So we'll go over to our service regen. We'll do that. We'll hit OK. Okay. And we'll kick back to our readings here, and we're going to hit our record button. And then this thing's going to idle up on its own. Our light's going to come on here to let us know we're in regen. So it sits there, and this indication is we can actually just sit here and record this, let it go through our overall DPF regeneration, and we can then go back, look at this data and see, you know, is there a reason why it's clogging up more? Do we have readings that are out of spec with our temperatures? Is our ash load not dropping? Is our desired fuel going? EGR acting up? I mean, there's all sorts of benefits to monitoring known good, known bad data, monitoring during different operating events. Knowing what's good and what's bad can sometimes be the difference between being able to diagnose everything from your tool sitting in the seat with little to no additional tooling based off of logic, operation, and what you're seeing here, or having all this, not being able to utilize it, and then spending a whole bunch of time under the hood there doing tests that you really didn't need to do because you weren't sure of direction. So, just my 2 cents for today, something for what it's worth, and hopefully that helps some people. I mean, just real quick, even monitoring fuel pump current, because this is going to put this machine through a hot soak. It's going to run it at high idle. It's going to put some load on it. So we can see some things we may not be able to easily replicate, all while cleaning out the filter. So it's a win-win. So, a little long for the video, but hopefully that helps, and see you guys next time.